Thank you, Mr. President. I want to commend my colleague for bringing this forward. My only concern is that we have a homeless problem throughout the state of California. Probably exceeds over 180,000 people. It's not specific to any one of our districts. We all have it. Certainly it's more prevalent in more of the urban areas. And one of the reasons contributing to our homeless crisis is we have the highest cost of housing anywhere in the country. And if we're really going to do something about lowering the price of housing, we need to follow the example of what SB 744 is doing. We need either streamline CEQA or eliminate CEQA for some of these housing projects that will allow for a lowering of the cost of housing and getting some of these people that have to live in their cars while they go to school. Hard to believe we have to vote on a measure like that. And instead of just voting to put them in their cars while they're going to school, how about doing something to make housing affordable so we can get them out of their cars and into homes? I think any inaction by this legislature in the future and not streamlining CEQA and really addressing the homeless problem we have in the state of California is going to create more mentally ill people that are being forced on the streets because they can't afford to live here anymore. So let's learn by example. Let's not recreate the wheel. Let's provide affordable housing in the state of California for all Californians by CEQA streamlining or eliminating CEQA for affordable housing projects in the state of California. I urge a yes vote on SB 744. Oh, thanks again, Mr. President. I didn't plan on speaking twice, but I figured why not. I think it's very healthy when we get into these debates on the Senate floor, and frankly, we should do it more often because I think we need to bring some of these issues to the forefront and have realistic discussions on them. You know, I greatly respect my colleague from Santa Barbara, and I know she's very passionate about CEQA, and you know, it's unfortunate that she will vilify developers that are capitalistic, providing housing, and my goodness, they're certainly entitled to make a profit in the state of California, at least still today. As much as she's enthusiastic about CEQA, I'm not real excited about CEQA, not because I'm not wanting clean water and clean air. I'll remind this body it was a Republican administration that actually brought CEQA to fruition. But there are many unfortunate loopholes in CEQA that make it very unfair. I think it's very unfair that you can be a plaintiff and sue a project, a housing project as an example, under a false pretense of hurting the environment. And if you lose that lawsuit, you don't have to pay the other side's legal fees. But if you prevail in that lawsuit, you get your attorney fees paid. That, to me, is an injustice of justice. My colleague says only 2% of the cases make it to court because it's all settled through mediation. My friends, it's not mediation. I call it extortion. They extort developers, they extort governments because they have an open check, especially from governments that have deep pockets. And this is why we don't see the growth of our affordable housing markets, the growth of developmental growth in the state of California, people willing to take a risk in California. When you have the cloud of CEQA over them, they're not going to take a risk. I'll give an example. In the city of Menifee, before it was a city, I was a county supervisor. We needed to approve a large shopping center that would have given them the financial base for them to become a city. The developer went through all the processes, the environmental processes, and EIR. They got leases so they could prove to the bank they could fund the project, and at the last minute, a citizen from Temecula, a cashier at a local store, one person became the concerned citizens for Menifee, a city she didn't even live in, or the area of Menifee. And through that CEQA lawsuit, they stopped that project cold. They were at risk of losing their tenants. They were at risk of losing the revenue for the lease obligations, and they were at risk of the shopping center going down. And the unfortunate thing was they are at risk of not becoming a city. They wanted local control. In fact, they're putting together their own police department right now as we speak. They wanted to be independent of the county. So this bill, SB 744, is a good bill because it's going to provide affordable housing through a mechanism, the initiative, $2 billion that could be spent. And I applaud the author for trying to streamline the process to get these affordable units on the books here in California, so maybe we can get some of these unfortunate people, I call them the forgotten people, our homeless people, and let's get them into homes and let's get them into the services that they desperately need. It's bills like this that will allow us to move housing into our markets in California quicker rather than delaying the process as CEQA often does. For those reasons, again, I urge a yes vote on SB 744.